What if everything you believed about sister wives was a lie? What if the picture-perfect story of unity and trust was built on secrets, betrayal, and a shocking trail of hidden money? Tonight we unravel the mystery behind Robyn and Cody's quiet deal, the moment that shattered Janelle's trust forever, and the secret that could change everything you thought you knew about this family. Stay right here, because what you're about to hear will make you question who's really been telling the truth all along. It all began with a quiet sense of unease that had been building for years beneath the surface of the Brown family's carefully crafted image of love and unity, because behind the smiles and the scripted family dinners there was a secret that no one wanted to confront. Janelle had always been the logical one, the grounded one, the woman who understood numbers better than emotion. She believed in balance, she believed in fairness. But when it came to Cody and Robyn, something always felt off. Something about the way they operated financially never added up. And that uneasy feeling turned into full-blown suspicion when Janelle realized that the home Cody and Robyn purchased might not have been funded in the way they claimed it was. She had trusted them. Trusted Robyn, especially, like a sister, like a confidant, someone she could lean on when things with Cody got difficult. But every time she confided in Robyn, her words somehow found their way back to Cody, twisted, reshaped, and used against her, until the trust between them disintegrated like sand slipping through her fingers. Janelle stopped talking. She stopped sharing. She stopped believing that Robyn was ever on her side, and as time went on, that silence began to expose the cracks in their carefully built world. Robyn had always painted herself as the victim, as the peacekeeper, as the one trying to hold the family together. But behind that soft voice and trembling tears was a woman who knew exactly what she was doing. She had mastered the art of emotional survival, aligning herself so tightly with Cody that the other wives were left outside in the cold. Robyn wasn't just avoiding conflict, she was avoiding accountability. Every family meeting, every uncomfortable conversation about money or property or fairness, she would find a reason to skip out, claiming that the energy was toxic, that the environment was unsafe, that it made her unwell, and Cody, like clockwork, would protect her, shielding her from the reality that she helped create the moment they bought that house. Everything changed. The other wives believed it was a family home, a shared dream, something that represented the unity they had all sacrificed for. But the truth was darker. Cody and Robyn didn't have enough for the down payment. They were desperate, and that desperation turned into deception. They leaned on Janelle and Mary, convincing them to help to lend money to make the dream possible. And for a while, everyone believed it was temporary, that one day the debt would be repaid. But as the years passed, it became clear that repayment was never part of the plan. Robyn called it family money. Cody called it a gift. But Janelle knew deep down it was something else, something that didn't feel right. She had worked hard, saved, carefully built her life on discipline and sacrifice, only to realize that the family she helped fund had left her behind when the time came to settle the property at Coyote Pass. Robyn's silence spoke louder than any argument. She didn't show up. She didn't want to face Janelle or Christine or Mary, because facing them meant facing the truth that the money that built her home wasn't hers alone, that someone else's trust had paid for her comfort while they were left with nothing. Cody, meanwhile, spun the story in circles, blaming delays, blaming disagreements, painting himself as the victim of circumstance, when in reality he had orchestrated the entire thing. It was a pattern of manipulation built on charm and authority, a system where Cody's word was law, and Robyn's tears sealed the verdicts. Janelle began connecting the dots. Every deposit, every promise, every time Cody reassured her that everything was fair, and in those quiet moments, she realized she'd been played not by chance but by design. And what made it worse was the knowledge that there was nothing she could legally do about it. Once she signed the gift letter, once the documents were filed, she had given up her power, because a gift isn't a loan, and a gift doesn't get repaid. Cody knew that Robyn knew that, and they used it to their advantage. So while Janelle tried to move forward, tried to rebuild her life, Cody and Robyn carried on living in a house built on money that was never truly theirs, a home funded by trust, by loyalty, by the kind of faith that only someone who still believed in family could offer. And that was the moment the illusion shattered forever. The months rolled forward, the cracks in Cody and Robyn's perfect image began to widen. And what had once looked like a happy home slowly started to feel like a fortress built on secrecy. Janelle found herself replaying every conversation, every moment that led up to the so-called gift. She remembered Robyn's gentle tone, the way she'd spoken about unity, about family goals and collective dreams, and she remembered how Cody had looked her straight in the eye, promising that this money was for everyone, that it would come back to her when they built on Coyote Pass. But those promises had turned to dust. Robyn had always been a master of selective vulnerability. She knew when to cry, when to retreat, when to act fragile, so that Cody would step in and defend her. She'd say she was overwhelmed or that the energy was too negative, and suddenly she'd be excused from any accountability. The others would sit there dealing with the fallout while Robyn and Cody isolated themselves. From the family, more and more each season, she built a world where she and Cody were the victims of everyone else's bad behavior, using words like unsafe or unwell to paint the other wives as cruel and chaotic. But Janelle knew that wasn't the truth, because when Cody would lash out, yelling at Christine or scolding Mary, Robyn never seemed unwell. Then she was calm, present, supportive of Cody's anger. It was only when the attention turned toward her, when questions about money or fairness appeared, that she suddenly became fragile and unreachable. It was strategic manipulation wrapped in emotion. And it worked every time Cody fell for it, or maybe he didn't fall for it. Maybe he needed it. Maybe he liked being the hero, protecting Robyn from the women he had once called his wives. Janelle watched this pattern unfold like a slow-moving storm, and for years she stayed quiet because silence was safer than confrontation. But when the talk about selling Coyote Pass began, she couldn't ignore it anymore. Cody acted as if the delay was everyone else's fault, as if the women were somehow holding him back. But in truth, they were the ones who had been asking to move forward for years. Robyn refused to join any meeting about it. She didn't want her name tied to those decisions, didn't want to face the awkward questions about money or titles or repayment. Because the moment that topic came up, the web of contradictions would start to unravel. Janelle was no stranger to paperwork, to finance, to the weight of a legal document. And she understood what a gift letter meant, that once she signed it, she'd lost her rights to ever ask for that money again. It haunted her because she'd trusted them, because she'd believed that a family bound by faith and years of shared struggle wouldn't take advantage of her. But they did. The more she thought about it, the clearer it became that Cody and Robyn had orchestrated everything from the start. And the irony was, they had likely convinced themselves it was fine, that because the money came from family, it didn't count as deception. But the law doesn't care about family feelings. Every dollar must be documented, every gift must be disclosed, and if there was any intent to repay or reclaim it later, then the entire arrangement crossed into dangerous territory. Janelle didn't want revenge. She wanted peace, closure, fairness. Yet every time she tried to talk about it, Cody would twist the conversation, calling her ungrateful, or saying it was all settled. He even went so far as to claim he'd already repaid her, that they were good, that the debt no longer existed. But his story never added up. There were no records, no evidence, no acknowledgement from Janelle. And the way he looked away when he said it told her everything she needed to know. It was a lie. Janelle could see it in his eyes. He wasn't just defending Robyn, he was defending the narrative that kept him safe from scrutiny. Because the moment the truth came out, the illusion of the noble patriarch, the faithful husband, the fair leader would crumble before everyone watching. So he spun the story again and again, until even he might have believed it. Meanwhile, Robyn continued to distance herself from the others. She refused to attend any conversation that might expose her. She hid behind phrases like, "I just can't handle the negativity," or "I need to protect my peace." But in reality, she was protecting the image she and Cody had built, one that relied on silence from everyone else. If she could keep herself removed from confrontation, then she could keep her version of events intact. And that version was simple. She was the misunderstood wife, the one who wanted harmony while everyone else wanted chaos. But the truth was, chaos had been created by her choices, by the quiet way she allowed Cody to manipulate and dismiss the very women who helped build their lives. Robyn's absence from the Coyote Pass meetings said more than any confession ever could. It was the silence of someone who knew too much, who couldn't face the people she'd wronged, because doing so would mean facing the reality that the comfort she enjoyed was funded by the pain and sacrifice of others. And once Janelle realized that, she knew the dream was over forever. In the end, what we've witnessed isn't just another messy reality show implosion, it's a case study in how deception, pride, and emotional manipulation can slowly eat away at the foundations of any relationship. For years, the Sister Wives franchise sold a fantasy, the idea that Cody Brown had somehow unlocked the secret to plural marriage harmony, But behind the cameras, behind the carefully crafted family statements and tearful confessionals, there was always something darker brewing. Robyn's alleged financial maneuvering. And Cody's willful blindness to it didn't just hurt Janelle, it exposed the imbalance of power that had been quietly tilting for years. While the family preached togetherness and faith, the reality was that one wife was quietly gaining control of the money, the property, and ultimately the man himself. And when Janelle finally pieced together what was happening, it was already too late. What viewers saw as a woman standing her ground was actually a mother and wife realizing she had been written out of her own life story. This entire saga serves as a brutal reminder of how control can be disguised as love, and how emotional loyalty can be weaponized to silence dissent. The truth isn't just in the legal papers or mortgage documents. It's in the way Cody's words changed over time, how his tone softened for Robyn while hardening toward everyone else, how small compromises became massive betrayals. Robyn's defenders will say she just followed her heart, but even love doesn't justify deceit and financial secrecy. Janelle's quiet strength through it all is perhaps the only authentic thing left. She never tried to humiliate anyone, she never leaked stories or played victim. She simply said the truth out loud, and in doing so shattered the illusion that kept everyone comfortable for years. As the dust settles and the world re-examines this family, the question isn't whether Cody and Robyn will survive, it's whether the damage they caused will ever fully heal. For the others, Christine found her freedom. Mary built her distance, but Janelle carried the burden of trying to hold things together long after everyone else stopped caring. She became the emotional backbone of a collapsing structure, while Robyn and Cody doubled down on denial. Even now, Cody talks about betrayal as if he was the victim, when in truth it was Janelle who lost her home, her trust, and her sense of partnership, all because she dared to ask questions about where the money went. That's not betrayal, that's accountability. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. When you strip away the fame, the contracts, and the television spin, this story becomes painfully human. It's about how people change when they feel cornered, how love turns into leverage, and how truth becomes the one thing everyone fears the most. Maybe one day Cody will look back and realize what he lost wasn't just a wife, but the only person who truly saw him, as he was not the patriarch, not the brand, just the man. For now, all we can do is watch as the empire they built on camera continues to crumble under the weight of its own secrets, leaving behind only the lessons of what happens when loyalty is traded for control and truth becomes too inconvenient to tell in the end. This wasn't just the unraveling of a marriage, it was the exposure of a power game disguised as love. Cody and Robyn may still be standing together, but what they've built is nothing more than a fragile illusion sustained by denial and control. Janelle's decision to finally walk away wasn't about revenge or pride. It was survival. She chose peace over pretense, truth over image, and in doing so, reclaimed her dignity. The cracks we see in this family are the echoes of years of manipulation masked as faith and devotion, and no amount of spin can cover that up anymore. The cameras might fade and the headlines might move on, but what remains is the truth that Janelle's courage forced into the light for the fans who once believed in the dream of sister wives. This ending feels bittersweet because it reminds us that real love can't exist without honesty. What Janelle lost in property, she gained in clarity, and what Cody and Robyn gained in control. They lost in trust. This story isn't over, but the message is clear. Lies always come due, and when they do, the ones who told the truth will always walk away with their head held high.